This is a off-the-cuff pseudo-review of a YouTube channel that had a video I was asked to review that had been uploaded by somebody who put a great deal of effort into making to where any critique or even confirmation of what they were doing in the video and what they were discussing was nearly impossible. And when you do that, you either have a really good, compelling reason to do it or a really bad one. So that immediately biases me to assume that the channel calling itself Eye of Apophis is not being honest or is in, how should I say this, is putting themselves in grave danger. Now the problem with this is fucking YouTube, and the person claims or may have claimed, people are saying all sorts of things now, and I'm not going to go back and review the channel fully, but have made the claim that the individual is a member of the intelligence community in some way. I'm not going to go into any details about this, but here's a standard snarky remark, comment that gets left under a video where I'm reviewing someone's individual video where, again, source material was not given, sources of proof were not given, and methods were used that were overtly designed to dazzle and beguile a viewer without ever providing anything useful. Look at the cool effects I get if I push on the back of an LCD screen and the wavy effects. Therefore, aliens. I'm not oversimplifying it when I say that that's, if you break it down, that's how stupid this stuff gets. Using an embossing effect to try to bring up what would really be called, if you were using it properly, edge detection, or some other characteristic where you're looking for something in an image that is hard to see to bring it out. Instead, it's an embossing effect, which just alters the image and is not providing new information. Now, for some of you listening, none of what I've said made any sense, but I also challenge you to make sense of what you were told is happening in a video by this YouTube channel and see if you all agree on what they're saying or what you're saying. And what I found in the comments under the video was a bunch of people giving their interpretation of it, like it's an art piece, which I guess is the best interpretation at all, and coming to different conclusions, but agreeing in some way with diametrically opposed views of what they were watching. Now, if you don't understand why that's a gigantic, it's not a red flag. That's a sign that none of you are actually critically evaluating what you're being presented. So here's the critical evaluation of me when I said that the Eye of Apophis channel ran an embossing effect, which is clearly what it is. Look up embossing effect on a photo. Okay, just do that. Just don't talk to me. Go do it. And this person did not provide the original image itself so that we could reproduce the results. Well, it's a highfalutin security thing. No, it's in the embossing effect on some website that does image effects, or it could be Photoshop, or it could be NeoPaint, or some other program like that. An embossing effect is basically a mathematical algorithm you apply to an image to make it look like it's an imprint made by pressing into a sheet of paper and then lighting it from the side or from the top or the bottom of the image at some angle so you can see the embossing effect. If you shine light on a sheet of paper that's embossed, if it's universally everywhere, there's no shadow, so you can't really see it. It's a way of invisibly printing information into paper. That's what embossing is. You can feel it, you can detect it if you tilt it, but at certain angles you can't see anything. The idea is, by shining a light at a different angle, a different perspective, you bring out hidden details. That's kind of what's going on here, and this is almost a metaphor for it, except this is an effect that's being applied to an image so you can get that effect rather than getting it out of the image. They are very different things. Mathematically analyzing an image to find something in it that wouldn't be visible but is really there is something I'm very familiar with. And let me introduce you to something you don't want to hear. The video you're watching has a dynamic range from the lightest, the brightest spot of the image to the darkest background of only a ratio of 1 to 256 maximum. That's it. Yes, I know there's 24 million colors, but the grayscales are limited to 8-bit in almost all cases. There's a very rare couple of cases where you get 10-bit, one part in 1024. But that's it. That means that if you're looking at this, if you go ahead and put this video up full screen, I don't ask people to do this, but do it anyway. This is a potato grade video. It emphasizes that what you're looking at in the background exists mostly as an aberration in the way it's compressing black. It will create a grayscaling effect that isn't there. This could be literally what we call dead black or absolute black background, and I could be wearing literally a shirt that's using Vanta black to make me completely contrast, but it would still create fake grayscale effect when they aren't there. It also might bring out the shape of a square in the background, which, if you're not aware, is a picture. These are examples of things you can do. I'm going to hold completely still and back up a little bit. Now it's a video, because the video is taking multiple images, and because light is bouncing around a little bit differently because there's cloud cover outside, because there's a window over here that I got covered up so I can get this contrast effect, you can see a shimmering effect that might remind you of a person or a black background. If anybody's not aware of it, the first video I upload on all my channels says, this is an example video. You will see ghosts in the background. They're not real. It's an aberration by the YouTube video compressor routine. It's noise, just like JPEGs. Every time I upload a video, I put secret Easter eggs back here. Not on purpose, but because the goddamn compressor does it. Every one of your phones, every video recorder, every photograph you've ever seen on the internet, bar none, except really unusual examples, has those things going on. You will detect false details. You will detect not real things. And if you think it's only for a black background or a white background, you're full of shit. You just look, go to a mirror and say, I am full of shit and I'm going to acknowledge it. The first step in I know something is to say it first, I don't know. Because you don't really know. So someone says, I doubt that you're better than the cyberspace force or the U.S. SOC or some entity that the person posting under my video sees as an authority figure. Pure authoritarianism, I say. Where they say this group of people is fantastic at figuring out all of these wonderful, important things. They can analyze a picture and get all that detail out of it. When those groups themselves say they can't do it. There's an exception with video where you can get successive images and get more data. But it's also called serendipitous or luck mode. It's literally, you might get data out of it. But if it's a static image, that doesn't really happen. And someone claiming otherwise, who doesn't acknowledge that it's a 8-bit dynamic range, a 1 to 256 ratio maximum. That's better than on TV that used to be a maximum of analog video, a maximum of around maybe that, maybe lower, maybe high, but usually 100 to 1. So it is a bit better. But no matter how much better it is, you still notice it if you actually paid any damn attention. So let's get back to Eye of Apophis. He's running an image editing software to alter evidence, not show you the original, at least in the video I reviewed at the time, and went out of his way to just avoid answering, where did you get the image from? Oh, that's secret. No, it fucking isn't. Because eventually I did a video, it's on another channel, it may be redacted by now. YouTube erases shit all day. I got 2 flags today because YouTube decided to erase 2 videos. But that video, I went through and I found the image. It's the same one everybody else used. He wasn't using anything secret or special. There is no such thing as photo evidence that that man had access to, Eye of Apophis, that isn't available to everybody. Because, if you're not aware of it, Eye of Apophis, the YouTube channel, did not give people links to the original image. The raw image. In fact, it wasn't the raw image. It was a re-upload on some website like The Guardian or something that I found it at. The specific image he was using. I was able to reverse engineer how he did what he did, and all he did was run a photo image effect, which I was able to get nearly identical, but not absolutely, by using an online version of an image editor like Coolpix or something. I don't remember what it was. But the point is, he's not doing anything other than altering evidence and presenting it as fact. This isn't a discussion anymore. All the individual running the channel had to do was answer a straight question, where is the source image? And the next one, what software are you using? And don't lie to us. The next claim is this individual is part of some sort of U.S. Secret Service or U.S. intelligence. This is a claim made on the internet by a YouTuber. I doubt that you're smarter than that large entity over there with satellites. Barring the fact that that doesn't make them really smarter, but yeah, I'm not the CIA. They have information I don't have. But as to whether or not I'm smarter than someone who may be lying to you about being in the CIA or U.S. Cyber Command or whatever, that isn't a discussion that we really need to work out too much because the person has failed to provide credentials. I do not fail to provide credentials simply because I don't have them. It's not because I'm part of some super secret group that somehow doesn't want to authenticate anybody. Do you really believe people who work in U.S. Secret Service or whatever aren't required to identify themselves properly? Do you really believe in that Clouseau-esque idea that, well, I wouldn't carry identification that proves that I'm supposed to be at this base? That's when they shoot you. Of course you do. People put on their resume all the time that they used to work at Langley Air Force Base or whatever the fuck. And you can call them and check on it. And their resume can be checked. Because making a claim like that and saying, oh, well, nobody can confirm it, it's super secret, is bullshit. So what are my claims? I've spent decades analyzing software and images because I debunk bullshit. Bullshit detector layer 1. Were you given all of the tools to reproduce what the YouTuber or website said they did? No, because they want it to seem like it's impossible for you to do because they have talent or something. But they're claiming to use some super secret piece of software, but only after it's reverse engineered by literally looking up embossing effect online version, finding an online site, running an embossing effect. Did you know the embossing effect cannot be reversed? An activity you do with an image that's not reversible makes it to where you can't get the original data out of it. And an embossing effect does that. But I was able to remove the embossing effect enough to get a grayscale image where I'm like, oh, okay, I can identify it because it was a negative image at that point. I made it a positive. And I recognize that image. And I looked for one just like it, and I found a picture. And then I ran the same routine. And the default embossing effect on a website was identical. But that doesn't prove anything. Yes, it fucking does. It proves the individual is shining you on, and I don't have to have another discussion about this. So what happens? Someone makes the standard false claim, and it's a false claim that you know that that person's not lying to you, and you know that person's a form of authority because he steadfastly refuses to treat you as an equal, act like they're smarter than you, and refuse to provide proof that they have any fucking credentials. What credentials do I have? I spent years working at a computer shop. I spent years repairing computers. I spent years learning software. Okay? This is no different than anybody else. I'm perfectly ordinary. If I tell you that you can load up Neopaint with a picture of this, run it through an embossing effect, and get the thumbnail for this video, if I can put it up if YouTube hasn't blocked me from using thumbnails. You know, Neopaint version 4.5. Take this image. Make it look like the thumbnail by embossing effect, the default embossing effect. Emboss, bang. Would it look the same or be similar? It might be identical. But you can test what I've said because I told you the software I used and that I'm using a specific frame from a video. And if I say I don't think you can reverse it back to the original image, it may be possible, but I don't believe so. Except, if you're not aware of it, this is a washed out image that's almost black and white. You might be able to reverse it. You might not. But the point I'm making here is, I've given you all the data. I'm not hiding it from you. Someone apparently trying to claim they're revealing the truth to you by refusing to tell you how they did it is lying. Why do you true believers keep showing up like that? Why do you keep simping for people who are running a shell game? And why do you get mad at me for pointing it out? Now, history will little note nor long remember what I said today. Nobody cares. I understand that. And I'm misquoting, I think it's Lincoln. But why in fuck do you trust people who tell you what you want to believe in the first place and not figure it's bordering on Satan telling you what you want to hear so you'll enter hell willingly? Why don't you get this? Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And no, I don't think I'm smarter than the CIA.